Welcome to the fastest daf in town. Today we Masechtas Ketubot daf Ayin Daled. We're going to begin on Ayin Daled Amud Aleph, about 6 lines from the top. Itmar. So we learned Imar Nami Omer Rav Achabar Yaakov Omer Rav Yochanan Mekadosh Al Tanai. So we're talking in the previous Mishnah that if a person is Mekadosh a woman on condition that she should not, for example, have any Nedarim, and then Uvoil, and then all of a sudden he has beer with her. So in that situation, Divra Kol Ein Tzricha Minu Get. Everyone holds you do not need to give a get. Says Rashi, Karabad Yomer Batois Isha Achas Gridasa Ein Tzricha Minu Get. In that situation, the din is that since it was all totally on the Tanai, even though they had bia, it doesn't make any difference. The din is that it was not a marriage. Esvei Ravacha Bar Borei de Ravika Bar Achte Chalitza Mutes. If we're dealing with a situation where there was chalitza of some sort of a mistake, kshera. Now, ezu hi chalitza mutes, what is that referring to? So, Amar Shalach Kol Aimer Lo, anyone who says to her chalitzla, I want to do chalitza, and we're going to do the shoe, the spitting, the whole decoration, and by doing this beautiful ceremony, which must make me come close to you, and that's how we're going to be married. So if a person does that, it actually is a valid chalitza. Well, chalitza is to separate you, to sever the relationship from the Shemer Shabbat. But this guy thought the whole purpose was to be marrying her. And turns out, he finds out, you have no idea what the purpose of the ceremony is. So the reality is it doesn't matter. Even if you didn't have the right intentions, it's still a chalitza and she's no longer someone you're going to marry. So I'm Rabbi Yochanan, Nishaina. So I was learning regarding this topic, Ben sheneschavin hu, v'lo neschavnehi, Ben sheneschavnehi, v'lo neschavnehu, chalitza subsula. I always learned that it was necessary when it comes to chalitza that both of them have to have the right das, because ad sheneschavin shnein, until both of them have kavana that they're doing chalitza, it wouldn't be valid. So viat amrit chalitza sekshera. How is it possible that this type of chalitza would be kshera? Obviously, he didn't do it with the right intentions, so it shouldn't be good. Rabbi Yochanan, what is this case? Because that wouldn't be a good chalitza. Rather, what is the case of chalitza mutes? It's kol she'aymelov. A man says to this woman, "Cholitzla, I'm going to do chalitza with you. On condition that you give me 200 zuz." So this is a valid chalitza. Says Rashi, "V'afal gav delo yov kshera." Even if she doesn't give any of the money, doesn't make any difference. It still works. Alma, what do we see from here? Kivan de avad maseh. Once an action was done, an action of chalitza in this case, achuli achle latanoi. The condition of the 200 is Michael. He's Michael the 200 zuz. So almana shetitin lach masam zuz. The money is forgiven. So hakanami kivan the boy achuli achle latanoi. For the Gemara, why do we say if that he married, he's konshal tanai, he has kedushin with her on condition she has no nedarim, but then since he has been with her, that just like the chalitza is a maisa, this is also an action, and that action should be enough to make the original condition go away. So therefore, they should be able to be married. They should be married, and he should be required to give a get. So Amalei Bar Beirav Shaper Ka'amrit. Actually, you think you're saying something good. Says Rashi, Bitmia. Do you think this is logically this is the reason? Michti. Kol Tanai Mehecha Gamrinan. When we're talking about conditions in general, where is the primary source which talks about the conditions? Mitanai B'nei Gad B'nei Ruvain. So we know when it came to Gad and Ruvain, they didn't want to settle in Eretz Yisrael. They wanted to settle on the Transjordan, on the eastern side of the Yarden. And the condition, as Rashi says, D'im yavru nasatem v'im lo yavru v'yachsu b'soichechem. So you want this land, so you have to fight with us. If you don't fight with us, then you're not going to be able to get that land. So that's a tanah de efshel kiyumi adi shliach, a condition that was able to be fulfilled through a shliach. Says Rashi, L'maseh shel tanai dehainu nasatem al yedei shliach. Says Rashi, Ki Hasam, Shahari Moshe Tzivul Yoshua. Moshe told Yoshua, Los Yisraelhem Es Haaretz, to give them the land. Shai Shlucha Shel Moshe. So Yeshua was the agent of Moshe. Unosnelhem, and it would be given to him. So in other words, Moshe didn't give the land to of the on the Aver Yarden. Only Yeshua did. So in that situation, so it has to be done. It was able to be done al yedei shliach. This condition was able to be done through Yeshua. Aval chalitza, says Rashi, yeshua kaim al yedei shliach. Chalitza, there's no ability to do it al yedei shliach. Ein yochel loimo shlucho. Therefore, you can't ask a shliach im titin lach pleinis mosayim zuz cholitzla. Hilchel chalav tanahu levata chalitza. So in other words, the reason is because the reason why it's a good chalitza is not because he was moichel the condition. It's not a good condition because the Tanai has to be like the Tanai b'nei Gad b'nei Ruvain, and this is not considered to be like that. And where it says v'habiyah do yashol kim alidei shliach ki hasa v'kahavi tana. What do you mean? When it comes to bia, if a person is boil l'shem kedushin, and he makes a condition. He says, as we saw previously, Harini boilich almanas. I'm having bia with you on condition. So bia has to be linked. It cannot be done on a shliach. So therefore, the condition shouldn't work either over there. The reason why over there is we make a hekesh marriage to divorce. Says Rashi, v'hoislish acher kol havayis kedushin amashma kesav shtar bia. The so the truth is, you're right. Bia cannot be done on Alidei Shliach, but Kesef and Shtar can be given Alidei Shliach to Kedushin. So therefore, since it works, Kesef and Shtar works, so too Bia is also going to work. Question 11. Madua Tanai B'Bia Enu Tanai B'nei Gad B'nei Reuven Madua V'chol Zayis Mahani Tanai B'Bia. So it's not like B'nei Gad B'nei Reuven because it cannot be done. It cannot be Mekayim Alidei Shliach, just like the Nachlas Aretz. Not that we compare marriage to divorce, we compare the ways of kinyan of marriage together, which is Kesef Shtar and Bia. Rav Ula Bar Abba Omer Ula Omer Rebbe Lazar Hamakadish B'Milva. So this is also more in Kedushin. A person is Makadish a woman with a loan. Uboil, now that usually doesn't work because Milva Haitzandis, as the Gemara says over there. Uboil, then he has Bia. Al Tanai, Uboil B'Pachas Meshiva Pruta, or he has, gives her Pachas Meshiva Pruta Uboil. Divrei Hakol Sricha Menu Get. Everyone holds in all these cases a get is necessary. It says Rashi, Bel Milva Shemachalo Milva. Let's say she owes him money, and she's like, you know what, you don't have to pay me the money back, and we'll just be married. So in this situation, everyone says that you do need another get. Why? It says Rashi, Vefil Hatasu Batanai, then Adam Oisa Bilasus Nos. Again, based on this notion that a person is not going to want to make their bia into a bia's nos. The fact that they had bia afterwards, so therefore it's a kedushin to the extent that he has to give a get. Let's say a person again is a mekadesh pachas pruta less than the minimum requirement of a pruta, uboil sricha menu get. Again, because probably his das is on that bia because he doesn't want to make his bia's nos. Bahahu de lo toy, avol bahanoch toy. The other two cases, he made a mistake. If you made a condition with you married her on condition, uboil sricham and get. Below get. So this is the story, and then we say that the chacham don't have a koyach for her to leave without a get. Now fukim haitana, and this excuse the following time. The Rabbi Yehuda Mishmuel Misham Rabbi Shmuel. The pasuk says v'hil nespasa. So when she is violated, when she's raped, so the din is v'hil nespasa. If she did not do it baratzin, it was ba'oinus, so then it's totally on those things. But she's asura. She's going to be asur if she does not protest, because it was done baratzin. Han is spasa materis. As we know, as we've seen this numerous times, in this Masechta as well as others, if she does protest, she's mutter to her Yisrael husband. We said that if the Kedushin, she was really never married because the Kedushin was Kedushin Tais, even though she had Bia Baratzain, she's not an Eishasish. As we said, even if, let's say, she has a child riding on her shoulders, that doesn't mean that they're married. As we continue on Dalad Medbeis, it was a Kedushin Tais. Mamenis v'hoylechasla. So she can do mian and go. Fine. Tan Rabbanan. Holcha Eitzel Chacham. So you have this person, after Kedushin was already performed, he made a condition, no Nadarim. And then they go to a Chacham, and he is Vehitira. And he releases the Nadarim, which work retroactively, Mukadeshas. In that situation, the Kedushin was a good Kedushin. It's a Rofe. Let's say she has a Mum, and just like our Mishnah said, if Almanas, she doesn't have any Mum in, and she has a Mum, so it's not a Kedushin. But let's say after the Kedushin, she goes Eitzel Rofe to a doctor for Ripe Oisa, and all of her Mummin are cleared, she has no blemish, and Mukadeshas. So my being Chacham Rofe, what's the difference? So Chacham Oikares and Nedem Ikaroi. Because when the Chacham is Mater Neder, it's not that he is allowing it, that now you could do whatever it is, but he uproots it Mafreya retroactively. But if a person has some illness, some sickness on his body, when the doctor gives medication, that illness, that blemish goes away, that's only now. But at the time of the Kedushin, the mum was still there. But when it comes to Mashin came by the Neder, it's Ki'il like the Neder was never made. She had no Nadarim. Vasanya, we learn like this. Eitzel Chacham, if you go to a Chacham, Betira and Maters, Eitzel Roif Everipe, Oisa, and Mukadeshas. We see that they're not married, not only by the case of having a mum, but also going Eitzel Chacham is Einu Mekadeshas. So I'm a Rebbe Kasha. Harameir, Rebbe Lezer. It's actually a machlokis when it comes to the case of Halcha Eitzel Chacham, whether the din is she's Mekadeshas or not. What do you mean? So Harameir the Amar Adam Roitza Shinis Baze Ishto Bebeistin. According to Rameir, he is not concerned if she ends up getting a bad name and is humiliated when it comes to her going into the going to Beis Din. She doesn't mind. And Rashi says, Enu makbin im teil chetzel chacham. So he's not going to be embarrassed about it. However, Adam the Omer ein Adam Reitzel Shizbaza Ishto Beis Din. That he does not want his wife to be humiliated in Beis Din. So Mahi, what exactly, we have to understand this machlokas a little bit better. What is this? Did not. Hamoitzes Ishto Mishum Neder. So a person, let's say, separates from his wife because she has Nadarim. Well, Yachzer, then he should not, Well, Yachzer. We say, as is brought down in Masechtas Gittin, that we do not want them to get back together. The Rashi says, one of the reasons is brought down in Masechtas Gittin is Mishum Kilkula. She'll get a bad name regarding her next husband, since her first husband could say, I never wanted to divorce her, and it wasn't a get, which affects the next husband. So therefore, as we saw over there, we want to make sure that he knows that he cannot remarry her. Because otherwise he'll say, I didn't know you could just have the Nadarim removed, and therefore, had I known that, I would never really have divorced you, so therefore we're really married, and it ends up causing problems. Mishum Shemra lo yachser. Also, for the same thing, if let's say Mishum Shemra also lo yachser, for the same reason, because he'll end up saying, had I known it wasn't true, I would have never divorced you. So that's one reason that you can never remarry. Rashi also says, V'komandi Omer Kadei Shlihu B'nai Yisrael Prutzos Barayis Um'Nadarim. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Kol Neder Shiyodabo Rabim, any neder that people basically know about, Lo Yachser. Lo Yodabo Rabim Yachser. People are not going to know, then you can remarry her. Rameir Omer Kol Neder Shetzarech Chakiras Chacham Lo Yachser. Any neder that you actually need a chacham, then you cannot remarry her. However, if it's something which the husband himself could annul, then he could remarry her, because he could have done it himself. So therefore, he can't say, I wish I could have known, I could have gone to a chacham. You could have just done it yourself. So let's read the parentheses. Rabbi Lezer Omer Echad Tzarech Ve'Echad Tzarech Lo Yachser. So Rabbi Lezer Lo Asru Tzarech Amanei She'enu Tzarech. So my time to Rabbi Huda. So what does it mean? Lo Asru Tzarech. We didn't answer the need of going to a Chakiris Chacham only because of the case of Enu Tzarech. Says Rashi Lefi Shein Adam Yoitza She is Bazi Ishto Beis Din, because he really doesn't want to go to the Beis Din to do it. So my time to Rabbi Huda, because the pasuk says, as we continue on Ayin Hamad Aleph, V'loi hikum b'nei Yisrael. that regarding the Gavonim, that not to smote among the Bnei Israel. Kinishbul hem, he swore the Bnei Israel should not smote them. Nesia Eide. So v'kama Rabim. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak Eimer Shleisha 3. Yomim is Shnayim. The word Yomim means 2. Rabim is Shleisha. Rav Yitzchak Eimer Asara 10. Eida Ksibuhu, since it says the word Eida. Rameir Eimer Kol Neder Shesar Chakiras Chacham. Anytime, again, the question is how many people have to be there. So Rameir Eimer Kol Neder Shesar Chakiras Chacham Lo Yachzer. Rabbi Elazar Eimer Lo Asru Sarach Neshet Shenot Sarach. Mamai, as we said before, Rameir Savar Adam Ratzis Shesvaz Ishto Bebesan. Rabbi Elazar Savar Ein Adam Ratzis Shesvaz Ishto Bebesan. I'm going to stop here. Let's see a couple more questions. Question 11. Madua Tanai Babia in Ketanke, we saw that. Question 12. Hamaitzias Ishto, a person who divorces his wife, Mishum Neder, Be'el Nedarim Lo Yachser. So, for which Nedarim is he not allowed to remarry her? Because of the issue of Kilkul. Be'el Lo Yachser. And for these, he should not. Seems like straight Rashi. We don't want women just to be making a whole bunch of nedarim. So question 12, which sounds a lot like a lot of this Rashi up here, is as follows: that we're concerned that he's going to say, "Oh, I would never have married you." So now that she's married to the second guy, it becomes problematic because she has children. Because really, you're still married to me. Kol neder shesar chacham. Anytime you need a chacham to have her removed, denu inui nefesh o ben levino lo yachsar. Anytime you need a chacham, then she cannot get remarried. You can't not remarry her. It's totally on a neder which is bifnei rabim, in front of the multitudes. TA 28. Mekanish bel milva uboil him sricha get umadua. This was on Ayin Daled with Aleph. So if you're Mekanish woman with a loan, let's find this. Hamakadesh b'milva uboil al tanai uboil b'pachas mishavapruta uboil. So the question is, what is the din? Does he need a get or not? So divrei hakoil sricha menu get. Everyone says in that situation that a get is necessary. But what is the reason for that? And the reason is, as we said before, so he says like this actually. It's not so clear from the Gemara, but this is the answer. According to one sricha get. Why do you need a get? Because the loitoi, you don't make such a mistake. The other day in Kedushin wasn't a Kedushin. Uboil Hashem Kedushin. It must be because you're a boil Hashem Kedushin. The Chadamim answericha the toi uboil al das Kedushin Rishayim. So it's actually, even though it says this, it's really machlokas whether a person was toya. That's what he says at the end. Hamakadosh b'pachas shavapruta uboil sricham and a get bahahu deloy toi of a bahanach toi. So its question is, did he make a mistake or not? And the question is, if he would know about it or not know about it, is going to be totally of whether he relied on the bia. TB 29. Adkan.